Greetings everyone, this is Frank Etheridge. I'm the editor of Electric City. I'm here with Jane Wilson, who's the president of the League of Women Voters of the Chattahoochee Valley. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. We're at the Cunningham Center at Columbus State University, and tomorrow night here, there's going to be a public event that we want y'all to know about that concerns Georgia's redistricting process, which is once in a decade after the census, they basically draw the political lines that affect some people say it shapes who has power for the next decade, so it's a pretty big event. It affects the state Senate, state House of Representatives, and United States Congress. Anyway, so the League of Women Voters is trying to get the word out. So you could tell us a little bit about the League of Women Voters, how the organization started nationally, as well as maybe the Chattahoochee Valley chapter.
Sure. The national group officially started around the same time as the 19th Amendment was passed. Actually, February of that year, which was 1919, and as you know, we just had it was 1920 that it finished getting ratified, and
this is the one that gets
it gets women to vote.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Shows how much I know.
Well, the 19th Amendment finally gave women the right to vote. We didn't win it, we had to fight for it, because the suffrage movement actually started in 1848 with a convention in Seneca Falls, New York. Maybe you've heard about that. It does come up in history classes sometimes.
Augusta Howard from Columbus was it?
Augusta Howard was one of the original people here in Georgia in the late 19th century. But we didn't, of course, Georgia was one of the last ones to ratify the 19th Amendment. They didn't do that until 1970, 50 years later, when all the other states had already passed and become an official part of the Constitution, but Georgia did finally ratify it in 1970, so we're happy about that. So we're glad to have the right to vote, and the whole redistricting thing is interesting because, as you said, it's about who has power, and each party has a tendency to want to keep that power when they have it. Surprisingly enough.
Right.
So that's what we're hoping, that we'll see some level playing fields here, but who knows? The process is controlled in Georgia by the state legislature. Some states use commissions of citizens and to do the redrawing of lines. We do know that Georgia did gain more than 1 million in new population. It's not enough to get another congressional district, but it will require increases in the size of each of the districts that we have now. I was looking on their website for the Georgia General Assembly, and it has some notes about that. The congressional districts, that's the United States Congress congressional districts. Your representative in Congress will have 73,161 more people in his or her district than is now the case. So the question is, how will that district be drawn to? Maybe the district itself already increased by that many people, so there won't be any need to change lines. But the chances are that there will be some shifts in population, and some districts that exist now will have grown. And they'll need they'll need some lines to keep to that size. So we have some, on the Georgia General Assembly website, you can find information about all of this, and you can offer testimony. You can come to the session tomorrow night. There's 2 congressional committees in the state legislature, one in the Senate and one in the House, and Columbus has representatives on each one. So
we have Senator at Harbor City, Senator
Representative Richard Smith, right, are the 2 representatives from Columbus. So.
Because those lines, it does shift every decade, and those lines are, you could say, artificial, because if you look at Muskogee County, the northwest corner, which is more affluent part of Columbus, is drawn into a district that's separate from South Columbus. So it's definitely every year, and then this year is particularly going to be interesting because of this past election where everybody's saying voter fraud, the shift, the fact that we have 2 Democrat senators, and the fact that Georgia had all those people, and most of that growth has been in suburban Atlanta. So how much of those districts can grow and take away from South Georgia and things like that. So it's a very contentious process. And so tomorrow night, this will be Wednesday, at 5:30 the event starts. But if you want to get in line, 5 o'clock. Sorry. But if you want to get in line, the comment, they say recommend being here at 4:30 if you'd like to give public input to the political leaders who hopefully will take your comments importantly, because they are deciding, I believe, August 30th or September 1st about how they're going to proceed with this.
Yeah, all the dates, this would have already been done had it not been for COVID, and the census itself was delayed, and so the results are delayed, and by the time the results are officially available, so that you really know down to the smallest level, because it not only affects state level ones, but within your counties. You have districts too, who you may have a council person, a representative on a city council, or you may have a county commissioner. It's possible that those districts will change too. And I know that that's something that I attend the Muskogee County Election Board meetings every month, and they're not sure what to look at. There may be some changes but they don't do that. That's the city council that would redraw the boundaries. But it can make a difference in who your representatives are for the council or for school board. And so it's all the way down. It affects all of us. And it's important to get public input, but it's hard to know now because we won't see any maps for at least another month. And it's hard to say what that, and I'm not even sure the legislature is sending these groups around. They're holding town halls. They have 10 of them that they set up, and Columbus is fortunate to be one of those sites. So we hope that it will get a good attendance and that people will have comments to make. I was able to look at, on their website, they had links to other things, and one of them was in Michigan. The state uses a bipartisan citizens commission to redraw the lines.
What a concept.
Yeah, a lot of states do that. I don't know the numbers. I'm sure that's possible to find out, but a lot of it's the state legislatures redrawing it. So of course they're interested in holding on to the power they already have. But and maybe they do a good job. Hopefully they do. But
again, like we said, like some political followers and experts say that this determines who holds power in the state for the next 10 years. So it's very important, and hopefully y'all consider coming out and having your voices heard. There's also an online way to give public input or your comments. And one thing that's interesting too is y'all's Facebook links to a map that shows how Georgia's district lines have changed over the years.
yes, I found something that the ACLU had published sometime in the past, and it's a you can look at any state and see how the state legislative districts for representation in Congress have changed over the years. So it's really fascinating to just put in your state. Of course, I put in Georgia and I put in Oregon since I'm a native of Oregon, and I wanted to see how that had changed. And it's really interesting to see some of the different shapes that come about. And you may know where the term gerrymander comes from. Have you?
Actually, I don't.
You don't?
No, I sure don't. Tell me.
And I'm not sure I remember the year, but it was, I want to say that the early 19th century, like in the early 1800s, the governor of Massachusetts, whose last name was Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, drew a map that when they were doing redistricting, he drew a map that looked like a salamander for the district. So they took his name and salamander and combined them, so gerrymander.
Yeah. We've been doing this since the beginning. So the people to go for that map and more info will be the Facebook page of the League of Women Voters of Chattahoochee Valley.
That's right.
Jane Wilson, the president, thank you very much. Appreciate
You're welcome.
it. Yeah. So tomorrow night, Wednesday, July 28th, the Cunningham Center at 5 o'clock. Have your voices heard. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you, Frank.